And now, it's the WideShut webcast.
Alright folks, a long time no speak. What you're about to listen to is about half an hour of clips from another podcast that I'm a regular guest on now, called the Brocast, full of bros, which is basically just a light-hearted chat about the week, news, films, video games and things like that, personal stories, but occasionally I'll broach a few serious topics. So when I'm on the Brocast and something interesting the WideShut audience might like comes up, I'll upload it onto this channel. Depending on the topics, I might even use it as a launching pad for a full-blown WideShut webcast episode. So keep your eyes out or your ears out for that. So this is me, Keelan Balderson, on the Brocast with fellow Brit Sam Brooks and our friend from across the pond, Carmine Antonelli. We've got David Cameron getting pushed, UKIP talk, ghost stories, as it's Halloween after all, and a few other snippets from the show. It's wideshut.co.uk for all of my blogs and films, and the Brocast is at supla.com. That's S-U-P-L-A-H, supla.com. And if you do find it entertaining, be sure to go over there and listen to the full episode and past episodes. So here it is.
You are now tuned in to the Brocast.
They walk up to us and they're like, "Hey, can you guys help us out?" And we're like, "That depends. We don't have any drugs if that's what you're asking." No. We need you. We need
You
you
just
to...
assumed they wanted drugs.
They were creepy looking dudes. And they just go, no.
It's America.
We need you to drive us through the drive-thru because we don't have a vehicle and they won't let us place an order without a vehicle. And we're like, well, what the fuck? So me and the girl immediately back off because we're like, nah, I'm not letting two random dudes in the back of my car. But the third guy we were with has a pickup truck. So he's like, fuck it, get in the back of the pickup truck and I'll drive you through. So we're just watching as our friend and two dudes in the back of his truck go through the drive-thru ever so slowly. And they get to the window and we can actually see into the restaurant. And the lady's just like, what the fuck are you two doing back here? I thought we kicked you out. It's like, we got a truck now, bitch. I don't fucking know.
No, you can't stop us.
I don't know what's
We will
more
have all
silly,
of your
that-
Big Macs.
that they were turned away or that getting a truck solves everything.
British news, British news. I'm afraid I've got some British news.
It's like
David
that one-
Cameron got pushed over.
David Cameron got pushed over?
Well, it was more
Yeah.
like he got nudged.
I'm sorry, this is news?
The Prime Minister has allegedly been shoved by a man while in Leeds to talk about the next stage of a high-speed rail network. BBC reporter Dan Johnson said that David Cameron has been confronted by a man near Leeds Civic Hall. Footage later emerged that showed Cameron was leaving the Civic Hall when the man, identified as Dean Balboa Farley, ran into him.
He bumped
what?
into him?
Dean Balboa Farley? That's a fucking MMA name. Sorry.
King David Hogan bumped into the Prime Minister.
And said, hey, get with my
I
girlfriend.
like
Oh, wait.
how, like, in America, every so often presidents get, like, assassinated, but in England they just get nudged. We hate you.
England.
I don't like that thing you did.
Don't kill the foxes. He was, oh my god, this is the best line in the article, right? Mr. Farley was arrested and then de-arrested shortly afterwards.
What does that mean?
I've never heard the term de-arrested before.
You're
Was
under
it
arrest.
just like,
Now you're under arrest.
I'm sitting on him, is that legal?
Maybe they realised that there's photos of about 10 men in suits, like, kicking his ass, and they thought, maybe we're
To be
in the
fair,
wrong here.
It's a politician, so...
What the hell?
Good. Let's do it some
Shitty
more.
politician.
Take a bat
Oh, wow.
next time.
Wow, he has fucking dreadlocks and like a blue earpiece. It's weird.
CJ Parker assaulted the Prime Minister, kinda.
I'll show you this photo. He kind of looks like CJ Parker a little bit.
Oh, great.
Let me
That's
guess,
weird.
he looks like a protester.
He definitely does. You would both benefit from this fucking thing because he's just looking at the camera like,
Imagine having to be one of those like security guards though. You have to dress like a twat with a suit and tie on, so you can't run properly anyway. And you've just got to protect
the
this
twat.
knob. Yeah.
Yeah. If you
No,
can't
they're
beat
probably
them, join them.
ex-police or something.
Ex-police unarresting
Speaking
people.
of,
Welcome to the Halloween episode, by the way.
oh yeah, editing spooky music for this story. A man choked a woman he met online because she didn't match her profile, say police. Cornelius Jefferson, 33, of Georgia, U.S., has been charged with assault following the incident in Kentucky. Jefferson allegedly choked the woman and threw food over her after a row. Laurel
Was it
County Sheriff...
Was it KFC? Was it a bucket of KFC?
You're gonna regret that when I get to the end of the story. Laurel County Sheriff John Root said the argument broke out because Jefferson thought the woman did not resemble her online profile. Cornelius Jefferson is black.
Oh. Is that just a line in there?
Is
No,
that
it's
why I'm
just
supposed to
picture
feel
of him.
bad about KFC?
Yes.
Yes.
Because
Dirty,
they like their
racist.
fried chicken.
And the grape juice. We're not racist. We're making fun
What?
of
I
people
just
who
don't
are
understand.
racist.
He choked her and then
Great
threw
drunk.
food over her.
And I assume then left because it doesn't say anything about him being arrested. So, whatevs, you know? Another shit day for a woman in America.
Oh, it's Kentucky though. They're weird.
Coming from fucking Crystal River over here.
Hey,
Isn't Kentucky like they're not allowed alcohol?
What?
Isn't there some states that are dry states or something where alcohol you can't buy it? Or you can't
I'm
drink
pretty
it,
sure that's
there's no
impossible.
bars or something?
no, there's no prohibition in any state, but there are places where there are places where like on Sunday you can't buy alcohol.
Oh, Sunday is the day of hangover.
You can't get drunk on the Lord's Day because apparently the Lord is real.
I'm not getting into this. We're
Leaked
gonna move on now.
NHS memo proposes denying surgery to smokers and fat people.
Oh,
Wait a minute.
A leaked memo from NHS Devon, put in the spooky music, discusses the denying surgery to obese patients and smokers unless they lose weight or quit.
Well then.
This proposal was linked to the urgent and necessary savings required to deal with a 14.5 million pound deficit. So, if you're fat or you smoke, no surgery for you. I'm sorry.
Doctor, I need a new heart. Yeah, well, maybe if you lose a few, you fatty.
If you're fat or you smoke, so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Think about what you did to deserve this.
Now,
And people supposedly envy our form of, healthcare. Like,
I was going to say, you're
maybe it's
very into
not
the whole,
working.
you're into the whole eyes wide shut conspiracy stuff. Does this ring any bells with you?
Obviously people want healthcare, so if the government can provide healthcare, that's a good thing, yeah, but it also obviously costs money. And if we've overspent like a bunch of knobs and there is no money, they're obviously going to start cutting it from places that people don't want them to cut it from. There's no money for anything at all.
The weird thing about this is that, like, the selection process for who they're not gonna provide healthcare for is like smokers. Okay, can understand that. Like, it's their choice to smoke, and if they get lung cancer, it's pretty much their own fault. Like, no bones about it, really. Agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fat people sometimes can't be helped.
True.
Like, isn't that a thing where, like, not everyone is fat because they eat too much?
yeah.
Sometimes
Well,
you're
there is
just fucking
genetic-
stuck with a really
There's
bad
genetic people with, like, we talked about this before with wrestling, but Samoan people, they're kind of fat. That's just in
Yeah,
them.
they're either fat, muscular, or not Samoan. So, that's not racist, by the way. It's just a general observation.
But, like, where do you draw
But,
the
like-
line? Because this is a public health service, right? Everyone pays their taxes, and a portion of that, in theory, goes to the National Health Service. So, at what point does your money not count?
I just find it weird how they prioritize fat people over, say, I don't know, alcoholics, drug addicts,
Well, where do you draw the line? Like, if trace any illness back, it probably leads to some kind of poor health, like unless you get hit by a car or something.
Mm.
If you're in tip-top condition, you're not getting ill. So
Yeah, I don't know.
That's weird. Like, the people
just
most
strange.
likely to be affected are getting cut from it for some reason.
Yeah, that is.
Although, to be fair, I did just read a line from the article, which is probably what we should have been doing this whole time, but smokers would be required to have given up smoking for 6 weeks before procedures.
That's
Now, call me crazy, but 6 weeks, if you can last that long, you're in the clear, basically.
not always, but yeah.
And also with the weight thing, you'd have to lose a certain amount, which is like, okay, I have to get fit for surgery. I'm sorry, if you have a fucking heart condition because you're fat, you're not going to get on the treadmill and be like, I gotta lose pounds, like protein shakes to get my surgery.
But yeah, it's just, I don't know what this, I don't know where this idea came from. Where it's like, let's not give surgery to fat people and smokers. That works. That'll
Yeah,
be
I
our
don't
new
really know the whole
system.
process behind it, but like, it does kind of link into
Well,
our final headline.
But then hang on, but then you've got to be like, well, ban smoking or make companies, stop selling unhealthy. Like, there's so many factors that go into things like this. Just to blanketly say you're fat, you can't have this. Like, what if you're just a poorly educated person? Or does that mean you need to put more money into education so people know not to be fat and lazy? Like, it's just, I don't know.
There's a whole bunch of shit.
Brocast!
Yeah, so for those that don't know, which is probably half the audience because you're American, there's an election. There's an election coming up in this country, or the UK, next year. And when that happens, the major TV channels hold political debates with the leaders of the parties. They do the similar thing in America.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a bit of controversy for these debates because somebody called Nigel Farage, who's the leader of UKIP, has been invited to take part, while other parties who have a similar representation, like the Green Party, they have some seats, but they haven't been invited on. And I mean, I don't want to bore people with all the technical details, but it just got me kind of thinking, in a democracy, how does the public sort of have a fair vote if the media, the television, don't allow all the parties to have a say? How can you ever have anything different than what we've always had if those that have, a different way of doing things, different opinions, they don't get the platform to talk about them? So all you have is the exact same parties you've always had. It's the same in America, Republicans, Democrats. Like, you don't really move forward. It's just exactly the same. So, I mean, I can understand why there's controversy because they've picked Nigel Farage over, like, these other parties, but they should just fucking let everybody go up there.
Yeah. That's why I don't like politics. Because they don't make sense.
Yeah. The one good thing about the zombie apocalypse is not dealing with that.
I'm not suggesting, like, tomorrow Andy starts, like, the Andy party. And then
I am going to start my own party, and we will have cheese, and everyone will be named Barry, executive of Barry, and it will be amazing.
Hello, people of this country, and welcome to another State of the Union address.
I am your Prime Minister, and with me as always is Liam Dunn.
He's just there. Liam's just there.
In his
Basically,
Avengers t-shirt.
Andy will be the front. Andy will be the front, and Liam will be everything else behind the
The
scenes.
puppet master.
No, that means
Like,
your country's gonna burn in a week.
Oh yeah. Really. Then again, we say that none of us could fucking run a country.
No,
So-
of course not.
Oh, I would give
Be
it
the
a
judge.
good go.
I think you would, but then again, you would probably be like, everything's a conspiracy. Nothing is what we say.
Even though
Don't
I'm in
believe
charge
us.
of everything, I can't trust anyone.
You know we're going to lie to you as well.
I just think, like, in my mind, a democracy is supposed to be about representing the people, right? So instead of having a bunch of toffs or like weird little power-hungry people who were bullied at school, like decide, oh, I'm going to be a politician. Like,
Yeah, see?
just set up the government on fucking Reddit or something, so people can actually have a proper say. Like, yeah, upvote, downvote.
You want the internet to run politics?
Yes.
Everyone die in a week.
The
women
first
first.
order of business for a country would be to murder a celebrity they don't like.
Well, I'm not saying today we have a Reddit thing that says which celebrity should we murder today, but like, take this bombing of Iraq again. We've elected these people. They sit in the parliament jeering at each other, and they make the decisions. Why can't we just vote whether we want to bomb Iraq again or not?
Because that would be the most chaotic thing ever.
I found a good summary of the way kind of like politics differs between the UK and the US. Like, on Tumblr, of course, that's where all the good things start, there was a gift set of the comedian Sean Locke. You know of him, Keelan?
Rings a bell.
Yeah, he's on 8 out of 10 Cats, which is a TV show in the UK, but there was a gift set of this one time where he said, people over the age of 65 shouldn't be allowed to vote because it's not their future.
That's true.
Now, I've seen two versions of this post. One of them, which was mostly reblogged by British people, was saying, whoa, he makes sense. That's totally true. The Americans, what, you're taking away old people's civil rights? Old people are people too. And it's like, okay, this is telling of how minds work. And it's really weird. I personally think he has a point, but the fact that most politicians are just stuffy old guys, like, it just doesn't really make much sense. But they're voting for the young people, but the young people don't give a shit because they're so apathetic most of the time.
Yeah,
kind of goes the
Like
other way
me.
though, because recently they were talking about in this country, should the voting age be lowered to 16? And then everyone's like, well, that's too young. They've not paid taxes yet. They don't know anything about the world. 16-year-olds are stupid. But then you get, like, incredibly clever 16-year-olds and incredibly fucking stupid adults. Like, where do you draw the line? If you can...
Like 12-year-olds get to Mensa. And, like, there are some idiots who ran over their head with their own truck when they got a cigarette stuck down their shirt.
Yeah, but that's the thing where it's like these age restrictions, you can't quantify them because like it doesn't matter. There's going to be the stupid and the smart of any age.
You're just born with a good brain or a bad brain. It just takes a while to get
You
to
could
that stage.
argue there are clever enough 10-year-olds to vote, but there's stupid anyone. There's smart people of any age and there's stupid people of any age. You can't start arguing about what the age limit for voting or something like that can be because it could just go on forever.
My theory is
why there's a limit in the first place. Like, why do you need to be of a certain age? Like, what's the point? You're either going to be too young to not understand how voting works, or you're going to have an opinion which you should utilize, right?
Yeah.
Like, am I crazy to think? Am I a radical thinker?
I don't know. It's weird, isn't it? Because like at 16, you can buy a house. I think you can get married. You can go to war, or at least train to start to go to war. But you can't vote just yet.
You can train to war, but you can't vote. What the fuck is up with that?
See, in this country, that's different. At that age is 18, where you can do all that stuff. And that's what our voting age is.
It's weird how, like, you do a lot of things at 18, and then drinking is at 21. I never got why it was so high. And
your insurance doesn't get cheaper until you've gone till the age of 25 without being in an accident.
Then again, no one really pays attention to the laws here anyway, so whatevs.
But yeah,
well, I assume that even if it's 21 to drink, it's not exactly stopping anybody.
Yeah, yeah. Like, you always have your friends who are like, always doing everything underage because of reasons, and you're like,
so the cool kids.
Yeah, the cool kids losing their virginities at 13.
That was my virginity at age 7, thank you very much.
To a teacher.
Mrs. Waters. I
okay.
cannot finish the joke because this...
We can't... Okay. I love free men teams. Free men teams are great on podcasts. The jokes sandbag
So hard.
way too much.
Maybe you're not funny.
Oh, shit.
So, story time, right?
Oh, fuck it. It's story time once again. But seeing that this is the Halloween special episode, we're going to do something a little bit different this time.
Cue the music.
I don't have any music playing, but okay. So
Figure it out
instead
later,
of a Half-Life fanfiction or the story of all the blood, we're going to tell our own personal experiences with Halloween.
I wouldn't say this is scary, but like I guess it would kind of fit into the category we used to go to, me and my friends, when we were like, I don't know, 12, 13 or a bit older. We used to go to this abandoned house that was kind of on the side of a field. It was pretty creepy when we were kids, and there was like a piano in there. It's basically someone just left a house with everything in it, and people just used to go there and trash it, and it kind of, aged a bit. Things were falling off and whatever. There was like a Jaguar in on the drive. Someone just left a decent car that got completely wrecked. But yeah, there was a creepy piano, and we went into this, like, I don't know what you'd call it, like an outhouse, an outside freezer or something, but there was like a bunch of meat hanging up, just that had been there for years, and like as kids, that's just petrifying. You're like, oh, it's zombies and all that shit. But yeah, just no one really knew why it was there and why it was just left like that. There was always like rumors, oh, the person got murdered or the person went to jail and left it or whatever. But it was pretty fun as a kid just to go in there. But one time, like by this point, everyone had heard about the place, because two people would go and say, oh, there's this really scary house, and like 20 other people would turn up the next week, and there was literally like 20 of us, and somebody thought it was a good idea to like bring a baseball bat, and people were like smashing things and just going like completely crazy. People like cut their hands, and the police came, and we ran through fields, and it was kind of madness. And I remember, because the person whose baseball bat it was, for some reason he decided it was my responsibility, and halfway running away, he literally forced me to run back and pick up the baseball bat.
Jesus.
Because I left his baseball bat, and
Right.
but we managed to not get arrested, which is interesting.
Huh. That's cool.
But we used to do all sorts of criminal things like that. But I don't know, like at the time, it just seemed like fun. Like, oh, let's go play on a building site. But when you look back on it, it's like we could have probably gone to jail or something.
That always makes for the best stories, though. Like, illegality. It's great.
Time we set loads of hay bales on fire and just left it, or the time
What?
the time my friend
No. You can't provide context for these stories. You just
Okay,
have to say
so-
one line and then leave it at that.
Okay.
So there's a building site and there's hay bales there, so we set them on fire, basically,
Brilliant.
and run
What do
away.
you need? They were there, so we lit them on fire, obviously.
Oh yeah, they're
I had-
there. They have to be on fire.
Can't
I had
not be
this
on
one
fire.
friend who's now living in Thailand or somewhere like that, but he was really into his like guns and things. Even though in this country guns aren't a thing, he somehow had guns and
Guns are
like
a myth
a-
in England.
axes and just weird things like that, and he knew how to like make not bombs that would blow people up necessarily, but like I remember he set a weird, this is like pre London bombings kind of thing, but he set a bomb off in the local train station,
Jesus.
like, but nothing big. I guess it's like gunpowder in a little thing, like just fizzles and bangs loudly, but used to do all sorts of weird things like that.
So yeah, budding terrorism does count as a horror story.
Has anyone seen a ghost?
Yeah, I have.
Really?
Legit, right? Yeah, this isn't even a movie thing. This is just legit, right?
His name
Swear
is
down, it's not a
Casper.
movie thing.
He was very
Yeah,
friendly.
roundhead.
Yeah, carry on.
But like, I was walking home and I was like, there's this section of field, like, when you walk home and stuff, like where I am. So, there was this guy walking his dog. So I saw, it was kind of like, not too in the distance, like I could see it was a person with a dog. And I was like, oh, I have to look to my left right now because of something. I don't remember why I looked to my left, but I did look to my left. Turned back, guy was gone.
Is it plausible
This
he
is
just
a
walked
big
out of sight?
No, because it's
Okay.
a big open field. There's no way he could have, like, sprinted away or ran away or hid. He was just straight up gone.
Spooky.
No idea what happened. Like, I'm pretty sure it was a guy, because he looked like a guy. He was wearing a raincoat and he had Wellington boots, so I don't think ghosts wear that kind of thing. They're usually just white sheets. So, you know,
I saw a white sheet walking a smaller white sheet.
they both had eye holes.
Um,
But yeah, basically that's a story of a disappearing man who I have decided was either a brain problem on my end or a legit ghost.
I either had a stroke or saw a ghost.
I've never seen a ghost, but I was in the presence of someone at the same time that they claimed to have seen a ghost. Me and my sister and her friend were at my nan's one afternoon eating a fry up or something, and my sister's friend goes, "Who's that?" And my sister says, "I don't know," because they saw this old woman wearing a black headscarf or something just hurry along the hallway,
Shit.
like into the next room, and the creepiest thing was when they asked my nan, who is this lady that just walked past wearing this thing, and my nan says, "Oh, that's my mum," and her mum died like 30 years before that.
Oh,
So they reckon they saw a ghost of my great nan who died in that room that we were eating the fry bin.
So why was she
So-
running? She in a hurry to get
Well, I
somewhere?
don't know if she's running necessarily, just kind of scooting past the doorway.
scooting.
Yeah.
So it's my
Well, I
favorite
didn't see
term
it.
for people moving.
I didn't see it because I was facing the other way. So maybe I would have seen it if I'd turned around.
Would have had more plausibility to the story, but yeah.
like
On the
people.
topic of ghosts, do we legit believe in that kind of thing? Or
I
do we
think-
just like to believe?
I'd like to believe because I think ghosts. If that system of people dying and being ghosts worked, that'd be really interesting.
I'll give
Considering
you a theory.
how, like, oh yeah, theory?
When you hear about ghost stories, right, they're usually people who, like, the way the ghosts interact, it's usually repeating something that they that they did when they were alive, like a man walking his dog, and that man used to walk his dog. It's like the repeating of like a murder or things like that. I think that rather than being a conscious like thing that's alive or whatever, maybe when I don't know, like maybe something's just kind of recorded somewhere in, I don't know, that you see every so often. I don't think it's anything that's real necessarily. It's just some kind of energy that's imprinted itself somewhere. Like, because they never seem to. Most of the legitimate, well, if they're legitimate, but the stories you hear about is just kind of this kind of looping. The woman haunts this house, and you see her in this room doing this every single time. It seems like something that's just got stuck somewhere.
I don't know. That's a good one.
Yes. I mean, that's a pretty good theory, but like, with me personally, like, I'm a guy who holds the belief that if there's enough evidence, like, enough so that you can't really disagree with it, I kind of have to believe it on principle. Like, I'm an atheist, right? I don't believe in the whole God thing. So, to believe in anything religious like that, say, angels, ghosts, demons, that would just be counterintuitive to the belief that if there's no God, why are there ghosts? Like, you know? But at the same
I
time,
feel like
There's
have...
probably more accounts of ghosts than there is God.
Because God is a dick and doesn't show up at any point. He's just like,
Well,
oh,
exactly,
I made it.
right.
I'm gonna go now.
I feel
Not
like
do
ghosts
anything.
aren't necessarily a religious tie-in. I feel like they're their own thing.
Well, if you believe in the afterlife, which is always associated with religion, you gotta think, well...
Yeah, but the afterlife is typically like that to, like, you go to heaven or hell. You don't stay on Earth as a ghost.
Well, yeah, but if heaven or hell exists, then God exists. And if you don't believe in God, then you can't believe in heaven or hell, so... it's just nothing afterwards.
I don't think I'm following.
Okay. God, heaven, hell, and ghosts. Right?
I don't feel like those are all four connected. I feel like 3 out of the 4
No,
are.
I think we're all connected. Because
Are-
if you're a ghost, like... what are you?
You're a
You
spirit
can't
that's
explain it
still
through
on Earth.
science. Yeah, but how do you explain that through science?
That's the whole thing, is that you can't. There is no scientific
So-
explanation for ghosts. I'm just saying, like, we're not going
Then
under the
they must
assumption
not-
it's true.
That's my point. That's my point. If there's no, like, enough evidence to make it, like, factual stuff.
It's the same sort of way of thinking.
Yeah. Like, the same way of thinking. If there's not enough factual evidence, then you can't really believe in it. Like, that's just me.
I was just
I
a bit
think-
different.
I think
Mindset.
there's enough accounts of ghosts for it to be a real phenomenon, in the sense that people experience something and lots of people experience a similar thing. Whether that means it's a spirit, it's a trick of the mind, it's maybe... I've heard a theory that perhaps it's just some kind of natural hallucination, because the brain has a lot of chemicals in there. Who knows, maybe every so often people just have a bit of a
It's like
brain
deja
fart
vu.
of chemicals.
Like the
Oh, yeah,
scientific
but-
explanation for deja vu, isn't it something like you just something happens and you just experience the same stimulus twice and you feel like you've done it another time before because of that? Something like that?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
at
I-
the same time, it's not a routine thing, so it kind of weirds you out to think, oh, what is happening? Like, whenever I've experienced deja vu, I always do a thing to break it. I always say something that I don't ever say, like, in general. So, say for example, I'm doing something on my computer, or I'm walking somewhere, and I think, oh god, this is baffle cakes. Like, I blurt out a word, or I just randomly, like, slap my shoulder or something. I do something that would break the deja vu, because it's really weird to experience it. So I don't want to experience it that often.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, these ghost scenarios where people think they see a ghost, that happens so quick, it's not like there's something to break. I'm saying, I'm going with what Keelan was saying, that it could be some sort of trick of the mind where it's like, there you go. You think you saw someone, but there was no one there. Ever.
So, by further extension, they don't exist. It's just us.
Yeah, that's
They don't
one explanation.
exist, but I don't dismiss that people experience something, whatever that
Oh,
may
of
be.
course.
On the deja vu thing though, I experience that quite often, and I read up about it and stuff. And for me, my deja vu tends to always be, it's not deja vu in the sense that I think I've done this before. It's deja vu in the sense that I've dreamt that I've done this before.
That's happened. I've had both.
Some people interpret that as, oh, I'm psychic, I predicted that this was going to happen. But I think perhaps people's deja vu is just them remembering a dream, but not quite connecting that it was a dream that they'd already had. So like,
No,
well,
there have been
it
times
was
where I
similar.
legit, like, I had a dream that something happened in school, and then that same fucking thing happened in school.
Yeah.
You
I've
guys
had
have
that
really
quite a lot.
mundane dreams. Like,
No,
With
that
me,
was
my
one
dreams are
time.
like-
It's not every dream I have is about school.
well, yeah, but like, I've never
Yeah,
had a
but-
dream where I'm like in a realistic scenario. I'm always in
Oh,
some
those
kind of
are all-
weird
well-
scenario with like in a canoe with Hugh Laurie going to India for no reason, all the time.
My dreams are 50-50. Sometimes they're realistic, other times they're just off-the-wall insanity.
Kind of like this show.
Yeah, only way worse.
like we've talked about like serious political issues now. Now we're debating whether ghosts are real, and we've talked about someone throwing food at a woman who said she wasn't like she is. So, you know, are we real? Is this a dream, or are we ghosts? I don't know.
We are all skeletons on the inside.
How do
We're
you know
taking part in
anything
the skeleton
exists
war.
outside of your own consciousness?
Is this real life?
This is the
Or is this
Brocast,
suspense?
and that was story time. So, Jesus. Enjoy the music, everybody. I don't fucking care anymore. It's all pointless.
Boys and girls of every age, wouldn't you like to see something strange? Come with us and you will see this our town of Halloween.